Hello, it's Spence from WP Launch Club with your WordPress tip of the day. Well, we've gone ahead and done it. Finally, with Cadence Blocks 3.0, the beta I'm going to show you today, along with the free Cadence theme and LaunchFlows, you can achieve the kind of results that we've been talking about now for over 2 years. That is the ability to simply create a multi-step WooCommerce checkout with primary product, order bump, and follow-up thank you page. But you can do it without having to commit to pre-made templates using complicated or expensive frameworks. It's so simple. Best of all the design controls you need are at hand with Cadence Blocks 3.0. Let me show you what I'm going to build, and then we'll go back and do the steps. I'm making a very simple, notice, full page vertical height sales page. This can be something that is a landing page for sending traffic to from your Twitter, your Facebook, your other social media audiences, maybe even TikTok. What we're going to do is either send the product directly to the cart or we've assigned the product here to the button. Now, I haven't put a lot of sales copy on here, but of course you can put that in for whatever your message is. Here, when I click the Buy It Now, it adds the product to the first step of the tab. As I'll show you in a second, that first step tab is actually something that has an addressable URL. So if, for example, you're using LaunchFlows, you could send this product from a Facebook link and it will open to this tab. That's something that wasn't possible before Cadence Blocks 3.0. Next, we put the other steps in a vertical order. Now, you can also very easily put those horizontally, but I like the way this goes because I could even put a 1, 2, 3, 4 on it. Next, I'm going to ask for the person's name. Now here I'm asking for the minimal amount of stuff, just the email, first and last name, because it's a digital product. Next, I'm going to offer them an order bump. Now this is something that's always been easy with Cadence, but even better, it allows us to finally achieve the nested blocks of things. So I created an order bump block, I put it inside of the tab block, and that allows me to do the nice things that you typically see on an order bump, like the dashed lines to get your attention in red. Here I'm going to actually use LaunchFlows capacity for the order bump to add the second product, and when it refreshes the page, I've got both products in there and I can see where I'm at in the review process. And then finally, I'm going to go to payment. Here I'm using a saved credit card, but if it was a new credit card, I could also go ahead and add that information in, of course. Either way, when I'm ready to check out, I say, let's do this. LaunchFlows lets me customize that button on each checkout, and it takes me to a custom thank you page. This allows me to orient the person to what they've just bought, and if it's a download or if it's a course, allows them to be given instructions with a link where to go directly. Of course, they can always go to their account dashboard and their review orders. Now, all of this is done with just LaunchFlows, Cadence, and WooCommerce. Let's look at the back end. If I go over here, all I needed was 2 products. There's nothing to that. You just go ahead and use the normal WooCommerce setup, and inside of WooCommerce products, all products, you'll see that I have those 2 products here. I have a 1-hour consultation, and I have the software bundle. Now with LaunchFlows, you don't have to have a complicated framework or an extra type of post. You just need to use the products themselves and you tell them how they should behave. So for example, here in the 1-hour consultation product, I told it that when it is added to the cart, I want to take it to that special page called the sales page. That way it's not sent to another checkout page, but it keeps you there. And I said I want to go to the custom thank you page when it's purchased. Here inside the software download, I basically set it up the same way. I use the sale price option of WooCommerce. So the regular price is 100, sale price is 50. But with LaunchFlows, what I did is I made sure that I had the same sales page and thank you page, and then I used the description. So here's where I can add the custom instructions that show up for somebody only after they've purchased. Really simple. Now let's look at the layout using Cadence and Cadence Blocks. What I use is the default Cadence theme. In this particular case, if I go to my sales page and we edit it, you'll see that the primary thing I've used here is the new tabbed layout component. And I really love what they've done here. First of all, I'm going to go and use the list view so we can see what's inside. We've got a standard row layout with 2 sections. In the right-hand section, if I expand it, we've got the tabs. One of the things I had been hoping for so long is for somebody to finally put the controls in place that allow me to address those tabs directly. Now, what do I mean by that? That means that not only can I arrange the order of these tabs and move them up and down, but each one of them has an identifiable ID. That means if I use the URL of the page plus the ID of the tab, I can actually make a permalink that sends somebody right to that tab. Super useful, and I'll show you that in a second. Now, what I did is simply open up each of the tabs and I gave them the name, and then I put the LaunchFlows components in with Gutenberg. You can also do this with just the shortcodes. So in the review, I put in the LaunchFlows review component. In the Your Info, I put in the billing component. In the bump, that's when I built the extra setup. This is the nested thing that I was referring to. So here I went ahead and installed an extra row layout. And in doing so, that gave me the ability to control the border in red, which is super easy now. I went down to the section inside of the row, and I went to Style, and I went to Border Styles, and here it gives me the control over my color. It gives me the style. In this case, I used a dashed line. I could set, obviously, the width of the border, 5 pixels. And if I wanted, I could put in a box shadow, make it a little elevated. Now, one of the things that I saw in their demo, and I'm really keen on, is the idea that now you can go to any component and you can copy the style. So for example, if I wanted to use this exact layout on this particular row layout, if I copied that style, I can go and apply it to another style somewhere in my layout. I can also save this as a permanent block, of course, reusable, and then have that as a reference source. Because with the normal WooCommerce stuff, there might be like 2, 3, 4, 5 checkouts. I don't want to have to reinvent this on every single page. Now, what else did I do on the payment? I went ahead and put in the LaunchFlows coupon component, and I put in the payment component. That basically allows me all the pieces that I need. Now, let's talk about that tab thing that I was just mentioning. If we go back over here on the front end, let's paste this in and go to the sales page. And I want to show you what I mean with the tabbed IDs. Let's say, for example, you had some kind of social media sale going on for this particular product. Well, first of all, this link can send anybody to the page and add it to the cart. And that's something that LaunchFlows provides you. It's a real game changer when you're trying to do any kind of outside media or even inside of your own front page. You can just turn anything into a direct to checkout link. But even better, what if you want to send somebody to a particular tab? Like what if you wanted to promote the order bump? Well, if I right click on this and copy the link address, let's go to a new page and see what happens. You'll notice that it's got the site and it's got the ID of the tab bump it. And that means I can send somebody directly to that sales page into the tab that's got the order bump. And in this case, what if I'm promoting a sale on, hey, it's 50% off if you get the software bundle? This is a great way to do it because now they see the special offer first and they're returned with LaunchFlows to the top tab where they've got both of the products in the cart and they can complete the checkout. Finally, let's go back over here and talk about the thank you page. What I did for this layout is I just used the pattern that I showed you and I pasted it into place. But I was able to use the Cadence Blocks 3.0 controls to give me the kind of column layout I wanted. So first of all, using Cadence theme, I was just using the page settings, and here I chose the boxed setting, which gave me a nice floating look. Inside of the row layout, I chose 2 columns. Now let me point out another thing I love in the Cadence Blocks 3.0 beta is the control over columns and the padding and spacing. Now I have this new control that gives you sizing, and depending on which control you're looking at, like let's go over here. If we go to something like advanced text, besides being able to use the generic sizes, you can also click here and get granular control. The ability to switch between the two of those is really awesome because once you set your defaults, it's really kind of finicky to have to keep setting things at 63, 64. It's nicer to just say, okay, the default size is a 2XL, is 64 pixels. And this applies to the rows, to the sections, and so forth. So what I did here in general is I made 2 sections, 50-50. And as always, this was available earlier. I love the fact that when you're in the row layout, there's just a grab handle. So if you wanted to do so, you could adjust the ratio here. And you can also set it in other ways. Likewise, we're already familiar from the previous versions, but you got the ability to adjust align top, which I use quite a bit because I want it to be as close. But in some cases, like the sales page, I put it align middle. Over here in the column layout, you can choose from a couple predefined layouts as well. But just to keep it simple, I really just did a standard image here. I could have used the advanced image, but it wasn't necessary. And then on the right side, I used the advanced text. If I was using the pro version of Cadence Blocks, this would have a dynamic component looking for the user's name, the person who just bought. So it would say, "Thanks, Spence." Then I just put in some other components, including, most importantly, the thank you component from LaunchFlows. So this, to me, really brings WordPress where it needs to be as a system. Instead of worrying about all the other fancy, crazy toys and shiny balls, just use Cadence theme, Cadence blocks, check out the new 3.0, LaunchFlows, WooCommerce, and you're really ready to rock. Longer video than I thought, but I get excited when something really works. And this is something that if you go back to my videos from, 2019, when I first created LaunchFlows, we were talking about, I hope this happens. Now with Cadence, Cadence Blocks 3.0, LaunchFlows, WooCommerce, it's all easy. If you got any questions, please let me know in the comments. Otherwise, I'll see you on the next video.